Hey guys, what's up? Himar here, and welcome back to Let's Play Super Smash Bros. Brawl. In the last episode, we cleared up boss battles with Mr. Game & Watch, so we're moving on to Luigi. That's right, we're going to get started with Luigi here. Now, we've seen something fairly close to, oh, there we go, I was wondering when you can do that. We've seen something fairly close to Luigi and Mario, but for anybody that has played any Mario game that's had multiple people that can be played as, you know that Luigi doesn't quite function the same as Mario does. He's a little bit lighter of a character, if I recall, and he sacrifices a little bit of, well, for one, he is a lot more slippery, but he sacrifices not only the slipperiness, but he's a little bit slower than Mario is. In exchange for that, he can jump much higher than Mario can, as you can tell right here. He's got a much better jump than Mario. Similar to Pikachu, he's got two different forms of recovery. He's obviously got his up B, but he also has a side B, which is called the green missile, where if you use this enough times here, like that, right there, it will malfunction and it will send you very far. I actually got to malfunction twice. I believe the odds of that happening are about 13%, if I recall correctly. But Luigi's all around a very decent character. The only real projectile he's got, besides, you know, using himself as projectiles, the green missile, is using his just fireball attack, which isn't much, but I don't find projectiles to be particularly important in boss battles, so it's probably not that big a deal. Unlike Mario's Flood, which was completely useless now because it's just for knockback, Luigi does retain his down B, and if you use it correctly, you can get yourself very high up into the air and using it. I'll try to show off a good example here. Whenever I get Crazy Hand down to a low HP and I can't attack him, you know, he goes to do something, like right here. I mean, that's some pretty substantial height, so you should be able to really make any jump you want to with Luigi. It should not be an issue when it comes to recovery. And unlike a lot of the people that do have good recovery, Luigi's not as lightweight as them. He still classes as a middleweight, and he's fairly light in that middleweight class, but of course, he's still a middleweight, not a lightweight, so you don't have to worry about it as much. For the most part, his aerials are just fine, his up aerial's fine. His back aerial's a little bit slow, but it's not too bad. His front aerial's fine, his down aerial's pretty good. All his smash attacks works just fine. As for his B moves, you get the fireball, like avoid up B for the most part, his down B, his side B, his standard attacks. This is probably one of the few characters I'd say avoid the neutral aerial, but other than that, you kind of got free range on this one. I'd say Luigi's probably one of the characters you would have a better time at clearing boss battles with, which is interesting because, you know, most people, when you think who would be good to be boss battles with, most of the time whenever somebody asks me that, I say, I recommend either your best character or a character that's got a counter or reflector of some sort. So Marth, Ike, Lucario, Star Fox characters, Earthbound characters, that's usually who I recommend. Maybe Peach if you're decent with her reflector ability. But Luigi's probably one of the characters, if I had to say, pick somebody to beat boss battles on Intense with that did not have a counter, I would probably pick Luigi. I mean, Luigi does really well in the boss battles. I would say he functions better than Mario because, you know, he doesn't have the Flood, which doesn't help at all in this one. He's got better recovery than Mario does, and he is, for the most part, Mario's a little bit heavier weight than he is, but not by a lot. I mean, it's not, you know, where you'd notice. There's very few instances where Mario and Luigi would, you know, something would knock Mario not quite out of the boundary, but it would get Luigi. It just doesn't happen that often. The only real concern you might have with Luigi is keeping in mind he's kind of he's supposedly one of the goofier characters. So what they will do, or what they did do in this game, is everybody has a very small % chance to trip, which you've already noticed before. I've tripped a couple times in boss battles. Luigi's chance to trip, instead of being a 1% chance every time he starts to run, is actually a 2%, which isn't that big of a deal, but if you do see Luigi trip, then that's why. Has tripping ever cost me a boss battle? With Luigi, I don't know, but just in general, yes, it has cost me a boss battle before. You'll notice a lot of his smash attacks are, for the most part, fairly similar to Mario's. Get up there, Luigi. There you go. Yeah, just keep karate chopping him like that. But yeah, I mean, I think Luigi's a great character to use for this. If you're having trouble picking somebody who's a decent weight and has got good recovery, go with Luigi. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is number 7. And we got Duon and somebody else after this. I don't know why I was running off to the right. Generally speaking, whenever you go into these boss battles, you know, you don't know who the first boss is until you start. You don't get like the little picture to tell you who you're going to be fighting. But statistically speaking, it's better to start running towards the right because the odds of the boss starting on the right are very high. Unless it's PD Piranha, Crazy Hand, or Meta Ridley, then you're going to get it. Taboo does start on the right, but obviously you won't fight him first. It's the only boss you're guaranteed not to fight first. So if you're fighting anybody else, then yes, you'll want to run to the right. So you got a pretty decent chance of assuming that running to the right at the start of hitting the begin the fights. You got a pretty decent shot at getting it right. I don't know why I was thinking about healing there. I took no damage in that fight.
Ready, go!
Yeah, I know I said not to use up B right there, but I kind of panicked. Ah. Oh, come on, I dodged that. And my shield's gone. This is not good. Ooh. Yeah, I definitely had to use it there. I got really lucky right there. Oh, there I am. Well, luckily, if you fall off after you beat the boss, it doesn't matter anymore. Which I'll go ahead and say that again, since I kind of said it in my, just thinking about it. But if you beat the boss and then, like, fall off the side of the stage or jump off or whatever, it's not going to kill you. However, I did check this one, like, long before I started recording for, even the start of Brawl, really. I checked what would happen if you, like, threw a projectile, like, let's say you threw one of Snake's grenades, and then you got sent up into the background. But as you got sent up into the background, the boss died. Would it kill you? The answer is yes, it would still count as a game over, which is kind of unfortunate, but, you know, at the same time, it makes sense. Because within that one, you're in the animation of going into the background. Once you start going to the background, you've already hit that boundary. It's the same as hitting the boundary as falling off, so... Ah, I thought I had him. Yeah, I know I played way too risky right there, but I knew I was probably going to make the recovery, so... I didn't ask you to do that. Luigi, what are you doing? There we go. Yeah, his vertical recovery using that's not very good. Like I said, if you've got the opportunity to use the down B, then use it when you can. If you're asking how you get the height on it, I'm not entirely sure how to control this. I mean, one of the ways is whenever you start using it, hold the up on the directional. If you use it right when you do your first or second jump, that's how you get most of your height out of it. You can go really high up when you do that, so... Let's go ahead and get started here.
Ready, go!
So if you had to ask me who I thought would be a better choice for boss battles, Luigi or Mario, I would say Mario. In fact, out of all the Mario characters, and that would probably include Wario, DK, Diddy Kong, and Yoshi as well, in that list, not just Bowser, Peach, Mario, and Luigi. If I had to pick between all of those characters, I would say probably best bet of those 8 would be to go with Luigi. If not Luigi, probably... I don't know. It might be Mario, might be Yoshi. Peach got nerfed quite a bit from Melee. If it was back to Melee settings, I would say probably Peach would be my number 1. In fact, Peach was either my second or third best character. I really can't tell you who would be second or third. First would be still Marth, and then it'd be a toss-up between Fox and Peach. But I was really good with Peach back in the days of Melee. I couldn't tell where the marking was on that one, so I just decided to do that instead. Ooh! Get him! There you go. And we'll get the paparazzi ton in there a couple times. Just for old time's sake. We'll see it again, I'm sure.
Wow! Incredible!
You say it's incredible, but that's the 10th time I've done it, game. In fact, speaking of the 10th time, there you go. Clear boss battles with 10 characters. If you're asking how I knew it was the 10th boss battle, it's because there's 35 characters and it's a, you know, one row across is 9 characters. Which is why every time we break, we have like 3, 3, and 3, so on the 3rd break, we end the row. So the next time we'll see clearing up 20 characters will be whenever we complete it with Yoshi. And then with all characters, obviously, be at the end of the whole thing. But either way, thank you guys for watching. This has been Pit Martha, and I'll see you next time when we do boss battles with Diddy Kong. And I'm not sure if I remember how to do this very well with Diddy Kong. Diddy Kong's got kind of a weird recovery, so we'll see how that pans out. See you guys later.